NFTs are all the craze, and one of the things that we are already starting to see is kind of the interoperability, multi-chain capable NFT marketplaces, and so much more that is happening in the NFT space. And I think this is going to get really interesting. We thought, hey, let's bring in some experts on the subject matter, and we're going to dive into that with NFTrade. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to TechPath. Joining me today is Ori Levinson, who is over at NFTrade. We want to welcome you to the show, Ori.
Not Levinson yet, just Levy, but hi.
Levy. Ori,
Yeah.
let's get into a little bit about, I have friends of mine that last name's Levinson.
No
And
worries.
anyway, let's get into a little bit about NFTrade in general, kind of the cross-chain application of what's happening with what you guys are doing. What are you trying to do in the market space? Where do you feel like you guys kind of fill a gap?
So NFTs are mainly on Ethereum, and everyone's trying to put them on Ethereum because of that, but because all the liquidity is on Ethereum, on OpenSea, right? And
Right.
A lot of people can't afford the gas fees for Ethereum, and so other chains are filling that gap, and a lot of NFTs are actually being minted on different chains. Yet there aren't so many marketplaces that support these, and especially not open marketplaces like OpenSea, where basically
Right.
any NFT can be traded and listed and so. And so this is what NFTrade is doing. We currently support 4 different chains. It's Avalanche, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and Polygon. And we're adding more chains because there are lots of NFTs that are being minted on other chains, and there's really not so many marketplaces to support them. So that's where NFTrade comes in. We also want to allow cross-chain to exist in this very expensive kind of industry, where a lot of those NFTs can't really be used by a lot of people again. So that's basically what we're all about.
Perfect. Ori, let's get into a little bit about the NFT market itself, because there has been, I think to a certain extent, a lot of people believe this is really kind of an explosion. When you look at the actual user base on DappRadar of all of the top NFT marketplaces, it's not millions. I mean, there's definitely tens of thousands, maybe overall, probably close to 100,000 NFT traders that are active on these networks. What are your thoughts of the current marketplace when you look at NFTs in general and the potential future for that? Do you feel like this is something that mainstream eventually will adapt to?
It's really insane. You know, looking at the actual stats, like you just mentioned, you don't see a lot at all. But when you look on the media, it's everywhere. You're like, where are all these people? They're all talking about NFTs, but where are they? So it's really confusing, to be honest. And I'm also always surprised by the numbers again and again. But it is growing. I mean, we're seeing like 100% growth each month. We only exist for 6 months now, and it is growing. And you know, we definitely see the mainstream catching on. We're seeing a lot of big brands that are getting in the game, and it's just the beginning. I know of basically all of the big media and the big entertainment companies are working on something NFT related or metaverse related. And so we're going to see 2022 day year of NFTs. Even though 21 was, 22 is going to be the year.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think with the growth, I wanted to pull up DappRadar here because it does show just kind of the user profiles here. If you look at OpenSea, obviously the most at about 25,000 daily volume at around 127 million. Then you've got Atomic Market, Magic Eden, Solana Art, etc. And you can kind of see, and then of course you guys are here on the list as well, but we see a lot of new emerging marketplaces really kind of coming into into the category. When you look at marketplaces, especially around the aspect of cross-chain, what are some of the key things that you think users, other than gas fees, things of that nature, are really looking for in an NFT marketplace? I know you guys do a lot of other things other than just being a marketplace. Explain to me what some of the core benefits are.
Cool. So yeah, the main idea and one of the main reasons we launched NFTrade is swaps. NFT swaps is something that we haven't seen on any other marketplace, and we think that this is one of it's going to be pretty big, especially with gaming, where this idea came to me from my experience in Counter-Strike when I used to get some of these guns. And if I got a one that I already have, I would want to swap it. So there are
Right.
websites where you can swap these game items, and that doesn't exist for NFTs until we came with that solution here. And you can basically trade any NFT for any other NFT. Currently, they all must be on the same chain, but that's also something we're working on, where users will be able to trade cross-chain as well.
I like that to me. I feel like is kind of a rendition of what you think in just regular collectors, whether it's the comic book trade or figurines, all those kind of things.
Exactly.
Swapping has been a big factor there, and you're right. It is a big missing link in many of the marketplaces. So I think you guys are definitely onto that, something for sure. Let's talk about NFT farming and kind of what you guys are doing. I wanted to jump to your website here, NFT farming, building off the concept of token staking, liquidity farming. Does it work like a traditional yield farm aspect of what you might do in a traditional token?
Right. So we kind of wanted to fill the gap. A lot of these DeFi projects and other projects that have a token, a regular ERC20 token, they wanted to reward their community, and they wanted to have some NFTs in their project. And so we kind of gave them that solution here, where we're hosting a lot of these projects. They bring their communities over to stake their ERC20 token, and instead
Right.
of earning yield, they're earning NFTs. And these NFTs, we have projects that come up with so many beautiful ideas for NFTs. It could be collectibles, it could be utility tokens, it could be a lot of land sales are happening. So users are basically earning land for a metaverse.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really a way for users to to do something with their idle coins and earn something.
Let's get into a little bit where the market is going, because with the bigger players out there that are really, they've been in the space for a bit now. We've started to see a little bit of indicators around things like OpenSea going IPO, and of course the mainstreaming of NFTs in general. And I think the metaverse, to a certain extent, has really kind of, I don't know that it's yet mainstream, but it's definitely caught the attention of a lot of, as you mentioned, a lot of the news aggregators, the journalists, media companies like ourselves, really covering the space pretty heavily. When you look at OpenSea and their IPO, do you think this was a good move or not so good of a move for the marketplace?
I don't think it's a good move. I'm generally pretty much, I think it's a mistake. It's a total mistake. Definitely not right now. I think it's way too early for them to do that move. And that's my personal thoughts, but that's where they decided to go, and I wish them good luck.
Yeah, we did a piece on OpenSea. I was a little bit in the same camp, a little too early. Also, the scenario of the market, I think in general, if you look at how tokenization is working, and it's working so well for so many projects, why not go the route of raising, a token and or dealing with your community in a different way, giving them the chance to basically get in on a seed round or, an investment round of some sort for OpenSea. So I was a bit surprised. I understand big capital and how that might go, and also mainstreaming to a certain extent, but I just don't know that we're completely there on mainstream.
I definitely think decentralization is the way, and they're going the opposite way, and that's their choice. We're all for DAO, and that's where we're heading.
Yeah. DAOs, I think, and for our audience, explain how you work as a DAO itself, a decentralized autonomous organization as an NFT marketplace.
Right. So let's start with being honest first. It's hard to work as a DAO. Okay. If you're a company and you want to move things faster, working as a DAO is very, very complicated,
Right.
and it's not as quick as working without. Yet, it does give you the benefit of being decentralized, listening to the audience, and doing what the actual community wants and needs, and that ends up usually in putting you in a better state in general.
Right.
However, in our early stage, we're not yet completely a DAO, and so that's something that's gonna come with time. So
Yep.
slowly, we're adding more and more aspects of the DAO, but eventually, we want the company to run totally autonomously.
Why do you think, and we're seeing so many groups, organizations moving quickly to DAO operational standards, why do you think DAOs are really kind of front line right now, at least in the crypto and NFT space? What are your thoughts on that?
It gives people the power, and people
Yeah.
want to be in charge of whatever organization they're taking part in, whatever platform they're using. It's great, and I think this is the way, and this is where the new generation will go.
Yeah. I think to your point is that the way I always explain it to people who are new to crypto and definitely new to NFTs and metaverse is that it kind of removes the corporation. And if you think about it, it's almost a programmable unit in the sense that it creates a whole community to help kind of do a bettering of the project as a whole. So a lot of people, it's a little bit somewhat utopian in many cases when they try to understand it. And I think just if you understand crypto and what's happening in crypto of really revolutionizing the financial space, you kind of get it once you get in there. Is a decentralized metric for moving money and value around the world at light speed is really what I think is going to happen when we start to see this moving on NFTs. All right, let's go into, I want to talk about like the social aspect, some of the feature sets of NFTs. We've seen variations where NFTs are being utilized for in-game interoperability. Now we've seen game companies starting to partner up to where NFT application or could be used in one game and then another game. Social features could come into this. What are your thoughts on what would be the killer application or feature set for the perfect NFT, at least at the stage we're in right now in the marketplace? Social, interoperability, multi-chain, what are you thinking?
Well, a combination of all obviously would be nice. I think that membership club NFTs are something that that's going to be the most, I mean, exclusive access to these membership only clubs. We're seeing
Right.
this with Bored Apes. We're seeing this with a lot of these new NFTs that are all trying to form their community. And once you have the NFT, you're part of the community. You can play the game. You get airdropped new NFTs, and you also get invited to real life events where only holders of this NFT can come in.
Right.
There was one in New York recently during the NFT NYC by Bored Ape Club. And there's really there are lots of them happening, and I think that's good. That's a massive that's a killer app for NFTs for sure.
So those are kind of in real life, the membership angle of it. When you look at social media, and many people think that we're going to see a lot more social activity within the metaverse, and NFTs are going to play a big role in that. Where do you see that going when you traverse that from in real life to a metaverse application?
Right. So first of all, Twitter is going to add these verifiable PFPs, the profile pictures that everyone's using. So
Right.
not anyone can just put any ape they want. They have to prove that it's theirs. I think that's a nice application and a nice feature that Twitter is about to roll out. But we're also going to see probably Instagram's going to be the biggest, probably the fast movers to do that. You're gonna have an NFT basically represent any image that you post online, and that's something that will be very valuable. But, we're going to create some social aspects for NFTs. We're also going to allow users to do more than just like on an NFT. We want to open a conversation on an NFT. And so that's also something that's being rolled into NFTrade in the near future. But yeah, users are going to get NFTs in a more personal manner. Right now, if you log into a marketplace, you just get everything that's out there. That there is no real personalization for you. But what if you like cats or something else? Then these NFTs can be actually more personalized for you, so the experience will be a better experience.
I wanted to jump to the Nike news because this gets into the big brand applications of kind of not only moving metaverse area, but also how digital goods, meaning NFTs, will really be a thing. And we've already seen it in the gaming ecosystem that's been growing for a decade. But now we're starting to see these massive brand plays that are really pointing in that direction. To this story right here, this was Nike, of course, acquiring Artifact. This acquisition is really kind of moving their whole digital transition. And I think Nike has been fairly open and upfront on saying we are moving into the metaverse and we are going to go digital. Do you think this is going to be something that is going to be taken seriously by a lot of the major brands? Because Nike's usually a very edge case retailer. Typically they are, front of the spear, tip of the knife, out there in front of everybody. How long before you see other big brands moving in this direction?
We saw Adidas last week purchasing Bored Ape and posting it online. I think Pepsi just dropped some NFTs. I think all of the big brands are going to follow. Nike are faster than others. That's correct. But there is definitely a lot being worked in the background. I was personally in touch with a lot of real life items companies that have asked me for, okay, how do we get on this NFT train? And so there are companies that give that support, basically helping these big brands convert their items into NFTs as well. And we're going to see a lot of that very, very soon.
So some very similar to kind of like what Gary Vee is doing, because he was the one that essentially kind of parlayed the whole Pepsi deal to try to get the NFT movement going for them. So you're thinking there's going to be agencies out there that are tactful and capable enough to be able to help these brands make that conversion over to the digital space of NFTs, metaverse, et cetera. That'll be interesting to watch.
Thanks.
I want to get in. I think you're right there. I think we will see a short. It's kind of like the era of social media. If you look back at 2006 and 2007, when social really started garnering up, I remember we used to have an agency that did that very same thing. It was helping brands move into the social space for the very first time. It was whether it was setting up a YouTube account, getting your Facebook page launched, all that kind of initial stuff that today we do it like we're rolling over in bed. But back in that era, it was a complex process, and a lot of people were really kind of struggling with it. So I would agree with that. I want to talk about the Launchpad because you guys have your Launchpad. Let me jump over to that because I want to kind of show this on creation. This is something that I feel is this is early for a lot of players. How mature is your Launchpad in being able to create and generate NFTs? If I'm a brand and I come to NFTrade and I want to do this for myself, how mature is this?
Okay, so let's separate. What you just showed on the screen was the creation of NFTs. It is as simple as we could do it, but we are hoping to even make it simpler for anyone, really anyone, to be able to create it. But it's pretty straightforward. You upload any sort of media you want, You name it, you give it a description, and you put some properties on it if you want. It's not a must, and it's as easy as it seems. You just click upload, and your NFT is live. It's fully decentralized. You're the actual owner of this NFT. It's not on our servers or anything like that. It goes directly into an IPFS, which is decentralized hosting. And so it stays online forever. So be careful with what you're putting on. So that's the creation of NFTs. The Launchpad, however, is different. The Launchpad is the platform where we host up and coming projects that are in early stage, and they're selling their NFTs or tokens in a pre-sale. And so users of our platform can participate in those sales. That's coming up live, but by the end of this month, actually.
So within the Launchpad itself, you said it's not available just yet. Is that correct?
It's not. That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
It will be available by the end of the month.
Coming soon. All right. And with that, do you guys have a pipeline of projects that are lining up for that?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I can't say the names, but they're really good projects.
I understand. Let's get So good to know, because I think that's one of the key things is Launchpad, the ability to transition that. Talk to me about how the cross-chain elements kind of come into play for not only the projects that are coming on board, whether it's a smart chain or Binance Smart Chain or an AVAX project, Avalanche, or if it's something maybe on a Polygon network. What is the process that a project lead has to do to say, let's do a Launchpad with NFTrade?
Well, first of all, they have to have a really good project, but then they don't need to do anything different than they would do otherwise. It depends if they want to sell tokens or if they want to sell NFTs in a pre-sale. We want to focus mainly on NFTs. There are so many launchpads out there that are focusing on the ERC20 tokens. We want to have those pre-sales for mainly NFTs. It could be collections. It could be land sales. A lot of land sales are coming. Lots of cool metaverses are in the making right now, and there is a huge craze for land in a lot of these projects. We've seen it with Network, with Victoria VR, and a lot of others which are coming up.
Let's talk about some game aspects of this. When you look at how projects are looking at going into NFTs or utilizing NFTs within a game architecture, what are the, what's the process? How do they get officially added to your marketplace? How long does it take? What's the process there? How many projects do you have running on NFTrade or NFTrade right now?
So NFTrade is an open marketplace where anyone can come in and list their NFTs. And in that aspect, we also are scouring the web, basically, not the web, but the blockchains, to get every NFT in existence into NFTrade. It is not what's happening just yet. We're still in the process of setting that up. But our goal is to have every NFT in existence on NFTrade with the blockchains that we support. Just to give you an idea, in the next 6 months, NFTrade will have at least 10 blockchains supported on its platform. We have Solana coming up, we have Harmony, we have Near. So a lot of these really good chains actually are coming up, and there's a lot of NFTs that are being minted on them. So yeah, the goal is to have every NFT project and every NFT collection on NFTrade. However, you do want to look for that little verified sign before you buy an NFT, and that's a manual process that we do. Getting verified is easy. You submit the form with the details. We make sure that we did have a couple people able to fool us, and we had to refund a lot of money for that mistake. So we're and we take full responsibility because we approved this, we verified that collection. And so this is something that people need to look for before they buy an NFT. We take full responsibility for the verified items.
Let's talk about that, because I think scams are, they're rampant within crypto in general, much like in the early era of the internet. Anytime there's a new technology, there's always an angle at it from scammers and et cetera. What are you seeing out there right now that, one, they're creative, and two, if they're starting to have some success, what have you seen out there in the scammer alert areas to be aware of for NFTs?
So I'll give a little story about something that I had today. This has been a horrible story, but I'll let you guys hear it, so hopefully you can avoid it. I was minted an NFT with some lotus flower on it. Looks pretty cool, but I go on to that collection and I see that there's 300 items, and I got an offer to buy this NFT from me for 9.8 ETH, which is a good amount of money. And
Right.
I don't know this NFT, and I just decided to approve that offer because why not? So I just approved it, and this NFT was malicious, and it included a code that uses a vulnerability in the Thorchain token. I don't know if you guys are familiar. Rune
Yes.
is the name of the
Yep.
coin,
Rune. Yep.
and yeah, there is a vulnerability in the ERC20 version of Rune that allowed this NFT to steal all of my Rune. So this has been the morning for me. It's incredibly smart. I did not expect it. I'm pretty technical, and still I had this happen to me. And so that's one that I've seen recently. But what you'll mostly see is people creating NFTs that look like the originals, but are completely bogus. And
Yeah,
so again,
that's a much more advanced NFT scam for sure. If you're
exactly.
getting into the code set itself, where it's starting to go into. So, all right. So from a
Insane.
technical,
Insane.
from a technical
Yeah.
aspect, I have not heard of that happening to the layer of being able to actually embed malicious code into an NFT component. How did it attach itself to, say, a wallet? Was there any identification or any kind of trailing there that you were able to detect?
I had to approve the transaction on
Ah,
OpenSea, and by approving the transaction, it was able to run
connected
the
to the
code
wallet. Yeah,
and connect to the wallet and basically steal the NFT. Sorry, the Rune tokens.
right.
Insane. Be
Interesting,
careful.
interesting. There you go. Well, if anything, that's the perfect thing to be aware of, I think, when you're trading in any of these platforms. But I think to your point is, whether it's OpenSea, NFTrade, many other platforms out there that are, very upfront, and you're helping your consumers and your partners and also your members stay safe on that. I think that's a key thing there, is especially, and I think that's going to be a factor, especially going forward, and mainstreaming
Exactly.
this, is people wanting to have trust in those organizations. So going to be interesting to watch. I
And
want to get some. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm saying that one of the things that we think are going to be game changers is actually setting up a support center, 24-hour
Right.
support center here at NFTrade, which will really help with the mainstream adoption for sure.
All right. Now you said 10 wallets coming up, or up to 10 or excuse me, 10 chains coming up. Explain a little about the zero transaction fees. How does this work? Where would the DAO earn any kind of value? What's I guess the business model there?
It's a promo. It's a promotion. We are only doing this. We announced it for the first 6 months, which are exactly about to run out.
Right.
We will consult the community and our DAO token holders what should be the next steps. It has attracted a lot of volume for NFTrade, and so
Right.
we might continue with the zero transaction fees a little longer, but we will eventually put fees on those transactions. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. I mean, eventually, I think, because we see that, promotions all the time about zero fees or super low fees to get that community going, which I completely understand. Let's talk about mobile now, because that obviously is going to be the one killer application that I think both on gaming, in blockchain, NFT platforms that are going to have these sexy mobile UXs. The ones who really achieve that level of ability in terms of just the quality of the product itself, I think are the ones going to be winning. What are your thoughts on where you guys are going for a mobile app version of NFTrade?
Yeah. So look, mobile and crypto has never been so really good friends. It's really hard to put your hard-earned assets on a mobile phone and feel it's as safe as putting them on a computer. It's some psychological thing, I think, but that's the first problem with crypto and mobile. However, luckily NFTs are not crypto. They're using the same technology, but they're not actually crypto. And I think that people are a lot more easy on NFTs than they are on their crypto assets. And so I think it's still very difficult to create mobile apps that support the technology the right way. And we definitely want to create an app for NFTrade, but we haven't even started, to be really honest with you. It's completely it's very, very difficult. We do have, of course, mobile support on our website, and we're seeing exactly half of the users are mobile users and half of them are PC users. I definitely agree with your statement. Whoever will do the mobile app in a good way will be the winners in the long term.
Yeah, for sure. Ori, let's get into the metaverse, because I think you're just to your point is, as we start to see the evolution of that UX, because mobile gaming, of course, took off 5-6 years ago. We've seen massive movement in that space to the mobile devices. We've seen a lot of movement overall in general. If you just look at crypto, I would kind of argue that point is that, with apps like Voyager, Crypto.com, all those are mobile centric, mobile only. Robinhood, another example, that are very mobile centric and definitely tied to the financial space. But when we get to the metaverse, most likely is that we're going to have the need for both mobile and what might eventually come to be some sort of augmented virtual reality device at some point down the road, whether it's Meta and Facebook have their way. Your thoughts on how NFTs are really going to play out in the metaverse? What are some of the opportunities there?
So I think the coolest thing would be metaverses that accept all types, or let's say a lot of different NFT collections and projects. That would be the killer app. Those that will only, the metaverses that will only accept NFTs from their own world will not last, because people want to buy an ape and use it in that world and buy a doodle. And so I think that's what's going to happen. And whoever's doing that the best way would win in the long game. I'm so excited about it. I think that's going to be really, really cool. Looking forward to see who's the one to pull that trigger. Maybe it's Facebook. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at what Zuckerberg's been trying to do, and obviously his big drop in late October was the evolution of where Facebook's really going all in on it. And my question, I guess, would be is, do we start to see the walled gardens continue to become just that, or do we see more of the open aspects? Even though I would argue, projects like Axie and what Scott Mavis is doing, if you look at Sandbox, you look at Decentraland, all of which have somewhat of a closed ecosystem, and it has a lot of similarities to the early stages of social media, at least in terms of how audiences are going to be scaled. Now, the question is going to be, like to your point, can you cross interoperate between those metaverse worlds, which I think that will be the one aspect that really makes NFTs super valuable.
Yeah.
is being able to utilize it in so many different multiple places, in for
I agree.
various things and reasons. I do agree with that. Let me ask you a couple of questions in terms of the future strategies around NFT creation, because we've seen a pretty advanced roadmap kind of come to life from the first JPEG that was put up on OpenSea to what we're seeing now, where NFTs become, devices within games, skins, shields, swords, etc. We're seeing now a lot of media moving into this direction. We see kind of this aspect of what Neo Tokyo is doing with NFTs that is completely different and a spin on the play. Do you see the next level of NFTs kind of converging into a multiverse application use case, meaning much more than
Yeah.
static, all that? What would you see would be the kind of the big trend to watch?
So if I knew, that would be nice. I don't really know where it's heading. I just know that something is coming. And we haven't seen a bit of what NFTs are capable of. Someone once told me everything is going to be an NFT. Everything. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but I'm sure that a lot of things are going to be NFTs. I'm talking about products, even water bottle in a supermarket. That kind
Do you
of
think,
stuff.
Ori, do you think education would go into that direction? That you could create an
In what
let's say
sense?
let's go MIT. Computer science, engineering. You create a whole course within an NFT. That NFT then is usable within the metaverse. It's got some sort of mapping capability to check performance. It becomes an app within. Could an NFT make that kind of leap? Or are we going to see that more as a dApp that's going to be living inside a metaverse in the future?
Well, I think that's something that's already happening. I think I've seen an article recently about researches that are being put into NFTs, and that that's something that's happening already. So definitely see that. Let's see how it plays in the metaverse. That's a different aspect to it, but let's see.
Ori, has been great. Yeah, excellent stuff. I love what's happening in the space. It's very early, but I think also it's much
Very
like,
early.
I think that the real early players understand where this is moving, the potential opportunity of what this means to so many different industries. I mean, if you've got guys like Nike really kind of playing into this in a very serious way, this is something to watch in a very, very big way. Listen, good luck to you guys over at NFTrade. Thanks so much for stopping in today.
Thank you
We
so much.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks a
Excellent.
lot.
All right. So you bet. Excellent. You guys are watched or tuned in over on the podcast right now. Make sure, and of course, come over here to the YouTube show. This is where we do these kinds of interviews. We'll do analysis. We drop a lot of our crypto power index data here. And of course, it's the place where you can join the Diamond Circle, which is absolutely free for you guys to do, and become part of the membership crowd that is getting these insights that we drop within the Diamond Circle on an ongoing basis. Of course, if you want to reach me, you can do it out on Twitter @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.